Happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to our kitchen. I'm the penguin.
And I'm the chef.
And today, we're going to make what my mom used to always call porcupine balls. Well, actually, my mom used to call them pigs in the blanket. But when most people think of pigs in the blanket, they think of a hot dog wrapped in a crescent roll. I guess it just depends on where you come from. But a lot of people in the north, they refer to them as pigs in the blanket.
Yeah, that's what we always did.
But for video purposes and what most people are familiar with, we're going to call them porcupine balls. And the reason that they refer to them as porcupine balls is because you use rice in the mix. And a lot of times the rice will stick out of the ground beef and kind of resemble like the needles on a porcupine.
And it's a good day for them because it's cold and snowy here.
Yes, it's cold and snowy here, even though we didn't get very much. Not like our friends are going to be getting out on the East Coast and up north, because from what we understand, it's going to be up to 2 foot of snow or more. So bless their hearts, stay warm, stay safe. I hope you guys have everything you need to bundle up so you don't have to worry about not having things in your home. Medicine, food, heat. Checking on the elderly, your elderly neighbors, making sure that they have what they need.
Make sure your pets are okay.
Yes, and your pets. Please make sure that your pets are indoors, they're safe, and they're warm. If they have to be outside, make sure that they have coverings, warm, or, a water bowl that's heated, straw, whatever it takes to keep them safe and warm.
Flaps on their doors to keep the wind out of their houses.
Yep, tarps, anything like that, just to keep them safe from the elements. So, all right, well, what we're going to need for this today is we're going to be using some ground beef. I'm probably going to use about 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I'm going to be using about 3/4 cup of instant white rice. If you don't have instant, that's okay. You don't have to use instant. I'm going to be using some onion, some garlic powder, some onion powder, some salt and pepper, some Worcestershire sauce. I've got a can of tomato juice over here that I'm going to be using. This is a 46 fluid ounce can of tomato juice. And also, I'm going to be using 1 egg. And you don't have to, but I'm going to be using some of this Better Than Bouillon vegetable base. I'm going to be using just a little bit of this in my in my tomato juice. And if I didn't mention cabbage, we have to have cabbage for this one. That's why they call it pigs in a blanket. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to chop up some onion. So I'm just going to keep my camera on while I'm doing this. Don't need very much. Probably about 1/3 of the onion is all we're going to use.
That's one of the big sweet onions I bought the other day at Sam's.
Yeah, these are big boys. I can't wait to make some homemade onion rings with these things. That'll be so good. But I need to get some buttermilk first because I think we're out of buttermilk, aren't we, Chef?
Yeah, we're out of buttermilk.
Yeah, gonna have to get some buttermilk. So I'm only gonna, like I said, I'm only gonna use about 1/3 of this onion. And we're just gonna dice it up real small. Okay, we've got our onion all chopped up now. I'm going to transfer it over to a plate for the moment so we can get started on something else. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and chop up some of my cabbage because I want to get my tomato juice going on the stove and go ahead and put the cabbage in, and then we'll get started on doing the pigs in the blanket. Let me get a place to put my onion. Okay, I got my cabbage all washed and dried now. We're just going to cut this into big pieces. We don't need small pieces for this. So
think you got your video problem fixed?
I don't know. Yesterday, I'd spent about an hour, and I wanted to apologize because I'd spent about an hour doing a video. I have a little cabinet in the kitchen that I keep all my spare makeup stuff in so that if I'm in a hurry, I can just reach in there and grab something instead of going upstairs into the bedroom or the bathroom or whatever. So it was time to clean that out, and I thought, well, I'd take you guys along with me while I clean that out, and we talk about a few of the products that I use and things like that. Well, got the video all done. On my end, it looked fine, but when I got it uploaded to YouTube, you couldn't see anything. It's like the screen was so huge that the things that I was showing you on camera wasn't even in InShot of being able to see it. So after all that time, and it took about 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours for that video to upload, and I was just so discouraged at that point. I just because we try to get a video up every day or at least every other day. So it was a little upsetting. So we're hoping that it's fixed now, but I guess we won't know until we get this video done, will we? Okay, so I've got this cabbage right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave it in the big pieces that it's in. And like this right here, I'm just going to cut it in half once. We're just going to keep it in these big chunks because everybody knows cabbage cooks down. So this is what we're going to use for our bed for our pigs in the blanket. Some people do cabbage rolls that they bake in the oven and things like that, but this is what I grew up knowing, and the chef grew up knowing. This is what my mom always did, and this is one of my brother's favorite foods too. So I'm going to get my saucepan. We're going to get our tomato juice in it. I'm going to show you how I season up the tomato juice, and we're going to put our cabbage in, and we'll get started making our porcupine balls. Okay, so I've got my pot here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pour in my tomato juice. Get all of that in there. And I'm going to keep my can, and I'm going to rinse it out with a little bit of water because I know I'll need a little bit of water yet. Put my lid back on there. I absolutely love how the lids go back on this when you're using the Safety Can Express. I love that can opener. Works really, really well. Okay, and to my tomato juice, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt. Just measuring by hand. You can use a teaspoon measurement if you want to. I'm going to use about the same in pepper. About a teaspoon of pepper. Get that in there. And we're going to do some shakes of onion powder and garlic powder. Just a little bit. About a teaspoon of each, I'd say. Can't go wrong with onion powder and garlic powder. I think we're like most people. We use it in just about everything that we do.
Yeah, we do.
And also, once this gets cooking, I'm going to be adding in a couple of teaspoons of this Better Than Bouillon vegetable base. You don't have to use this. We've got enough flavor in here, but I've never used the vegetable base before, and I want to give it a try. Okay, now I've got all this in here. I'm just going to give it a little mix around. Get my salt and pepper mixed up in there. Like the chef said, it's a good day for things like this because it's snowy out.
Yep, it is.
It's cold, and I guess we were watching the weather, and it's supposed to get even colder. One day next week, it's only going to be a high of 11,
Yep.
which is coldest it's been all winter long, I think, here in Indiana.
Yeah, I think so.
We've had a pretty mild winter for the most part. Okay, I'm just taking all of my cabbage and putting it down. Just breaking some of it apart a little bit and putting it down in my tomato juice. Love cabbage. Tomato juice and cabbage together. Yeah. Love, love, love it. So while I'm doing this, I want to give a shout out to a couple of channels. If I mispronounce your channel name wrong, I'm sorry. I'll put a link in the description box below. But one of them that I like to watch, he's in the Philippines, and his channel is called Bernz Gerona channel. And he does a lot of harvesting of Filipino type fruits and vegetables. He raises chickens, just everything like that. It's just a different culture for everybody to see. It's nice to see how other people live in other countries sometimes. And also Jane in Jane's Kitchen. She has a lot of wonderful recipes. She does a lot of different types of foods and desserts. And I always recommend people to check out what other people have to offer in the way of different cuisines from different places. And also, one, if you like Indian food also, I have a channel that we watch all the time. It's called Sema Samayal Kitchen, and they do a lot of Indian cuisine and things like that. They have a few recipes that we have actually had before, and I know that they're really good. They use a lot of good spices, like deep spices, and just gives the food a great flavor. And also, one that her channel name is FilAMsimple LifeTX, Texas. So she's just a sweet lady, and she has a green thumb. Let me tell you, this lady can grow anything. I wish I had her knack for growing flowers and vegetables and the things that she does. She also does hauls, and she also does a little bit of cooking on her channel too. So if you guys want to check her out, I'll put her link in the description. And that's all for the shout outs for today, except for I wanted to say hello to Ellen Barnett. Ellen is one of our subscribers, and we just love Ellen. She always leaves the sweetest comments, and she's always very supportive. She was supportive when I was so frustrated last night. She said, as most of you did, don't worry, we'll be here when you get back. So we just love Ellen. And also Darlene McPhate. Darlene's a sweetheart too. She leaves us a lot of sweet comments, and she tells it like it is. We gotta love Darlene. But like I said, I will put the link in the description for the channels that I mentioned, and we will mention more in the future. So now I'll quit blabbing, and we're going to go ahead and get the rest of this cabbage in here. This should be plenty of cabbage for me and the chef. If you guys have a bigger family, you have a lot of people to feed, then you may want to consider getting a large head of cabbage. The one that we had right now is just what I would consider a small head of cabbage. So just getting this mixed into my tomato juice a little bit. I'm going to get this on the stove, and I'm going to set it for about medium to begin with, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. Get some of this cabbage cooked down. And I'm just going to watch it once in a while I'm working on the porcupine balls. Okay, I added about a cup of water to this, and I stirred it all around. I've got my burner on medium, and I'm going to go ahead and put a vented lid on this while I'm working on the porcupine balls, and we'll give this a stir in ever so often. Okay, now that we've got that on, I'm going to go ahead and get started on doing the porcupine balls. I've got my hands all washed. This is one of those things you're going to have to get into it with your hands. So, that's what our mothers and grandmothers did though, right? At least we always saw them working, mixing meatloaf and things with their hands. So I've got about 1.5 pounds of ground beef in here. And to this, we're going to add 1 egg. All right. That egg out of the way. We're going to add our onion that we diced up. Get all that in there. If you guys have never had porcupine balls, I'd recommend that you give them a try. Very easy, very simple. So, hang on, let me wash my hands again. All right, now to this, we're going to add, whoops, I don't want to take that off. We're going to add, I'd say probably about 1.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce, however you want to pronounce it. Going to do a little bit of pepper. About 1/2 teaspoon of pepper in these. And going to do about a teaspoon of salt in these. All right. And of course, we're going to do our trusty onion powder and garlic powder. So we're doing a lot of the same seasonings that we did in our tomato juice into our meat mixture. You can always add anything else that you want to add to this. If you want to add hot sauce, you can do that. You're free to add anything into it that you want. And we're going to add about 3/4 cup of instant white rice. This is just a binder. This is what gives them the name porcupine balls. Now comes the fun part. We're going to mix this up. So let's get to mixing. Like I said, my hands are clean. Already washed my hands. I'm going to get down in there and get this all mixed up. Get our egg incorporated and our Worcestershire sauce and all those spices. Get them all mixed up. If you have a bigger family and you need to make more, just double the amount of ground beef that you're going to use. And I'd say probably about a cup of instant rice would be about maximum that I'd want to use. You don't want to have too much rice in there. So, it's getting all this mixed up. Smells really good.
Pushing the plate over so you can put your...
Thank you very much, Chef. I love Chef. We have an anniversary coming up. I know a lot of people will probably laugh, but yes, me and the chef were born. We were not born. We were born. Me and the chef were married on Valentine's Day.
On a mountain in Tennessee.
Yeah. Valentine's Day on a mountain in Tennessee. So, we had a few family there. It was just small. We didn't want anything big and elaborate. We're not those kind of people. Wanted to keep it simple. It was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful time.
The mountains were beautiful in the background.
Yeah, the mountains were beautiful. This was years ago, but it was beautiful. It was very nice. But yeah, Valentine's Day is our anniversary. So
I think she just did it so there was no way I could forget.
See, he says I did it that way, so there's no way he could forget.
Yeah,
when actually I'm getting cheated because he only has to give me one gift, either a Valentine's gift or an anniversary gift.
But I never do.
No, he always gets me. He always gets me two things. He gets me something separate for Valentine's Day and something for our anniversary, and I do him too.
Yes, she does.
That's what we've always done. But I've always told him, don't get me flowers. I'm not one for flowers. Flowers are beautiful, mind you. But to me, flowers, they only last for so long. I'd rather him take the money that he would spend on getting me roses, something that I can keep for a long time. So,
Penguins.
Like penguins. Like I said, I should have told him diamonds were a girl's best friend instead of penguins. But okay, we've got all this mixed up now. If you can see that, everything's all mixed up. We're just going to take this and we're going to shape it into balls. We're going to do bigger than a golf ball, but smaller than a baseball. If you can see this right here. Just going to shape them into little meaty balls. I love meaty balls. You can see that there's the length of the palm of my hand. And stick it on a plate over here. Make us another one. So I'm going to get all these made up. And when they're all made up, we're ready to put them in the pan. Bring you back. Okay, there's our porcupine balls. We've got those all made now. And over here in my pot is my tomato juice and cabbage. I just took the lid off and gave it another little stir. And it may be hard to see, but it's just started to get a little bit of bubbling going around the edges. And we want it to be hot enough where it's just starting to boil, but we don't want it to come to a hard rolling boil. We want to be gentle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready to drop in our porcupine balls. Alright, we've got the camera situated now. I'm just going to take our porcupine balls and drop them in here with our cabbage. It's going to be gentle with them. Place them all around. Smells so good.
Yeah, it does. The kitchen's starting to smell that cooked cabbage tomato already.
Just reminds you of your childhood. I know my grandma used to make these. My mom used to make them. And now my brothers, they always make them. This is one of those things they always call me and ask, hey sis, how did mom make her pigs in the blanket? And even though I've told them a million times, they still forget sometimes. So it's just going to be easy, and we're going to give these a little stir around. We want to get our porcupine balls down in our tomato juice. In there with our cabbage. Sometimes you got to move a little of the cabbage out of the way to get our porcupine balls down in there. And they don't have to be submerged all the way, because we're going to be stirring them from time to time. So, and we're going to have the lid back on. All right. So we're going to leave those like there for now. I usually let my pigs in the blanket and cabbage cook for about an hour. Generally about an hour to an hour and a half. So I'll let you know how long we're going to let these cook. Like I said, I've got my burner on medium. I'm going to keep it on medium for a little bit. When it starts to boil good, then I'll turn it down to about a medium low and let them simmer the rest of the time. So I'm going to get the lid on and let these cook. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the chef reminded me that I needed to get my Better Than Bouillon in here. So I'm just going to add, because of the salt content, I'm just going to add a little over a teaspoon of the Better Than Bouillon vegetable base. And get that down in there and let it get all mixed up. So, like I said, I should have made it a little bit more clear on the instructions. I've got my burner on medium, and I'm going to let it come back up to a light boil. Once it comes back up to a light boil, I'm going to turn it down to about medium low, and I'm going to vent the lid and let it cook that way for probably about an hour to an hour and a half. So I know my directions seemed a little off, but it's smelling good, y'all.
Yeah, very good.
So we're going to keep on cooking. Okay, these have been going about 20 minutes, so I'm going to pop the lid off.
Can I dive in the pot?
You can see my burner right there. It's about medium low. All right. And I'm going to get my spoon over here. We're just going to give these a little bit of a gentle stir. You can see our porcupine balls are browning up nicely in their little bed of cabbage. So just giving it a little stir around. Just wanted to give you guys an update on how they were doing. Like I said, that's about 20 minutes in. We're probably going to let them go for about an hour. We want our cabbage to be tender and our porcupine balls to be cooked all the way through. So we'll bring you back when they're done. Okay, it's been about an hour and 15 minutes now on our pigs. And if you can see, our cabbage is pretty tender. This is the way we like it, but yet it's still, some pieces are still holding their shape.
Smells really good.
Our pigs are all done. Our little, well, we call them pigs. You guys call them porcupine balls. Whatever you want to call them. They're all done. Nice and meaty. So good. Love these things. And we're doing 2 videos. The one we'll be posting in a couple of days. But the chef is making a side to go along with our porcupine balls.
And it's almost hot.
And it's almost ready. So, but I just wanted to show you these. So we're going to go ahead and shut the burner off now. And we will show you when it's all plated up. We'll be back, guys. Okay, there you have it, guys. That is the porcupine balls with cabbage on a bed of the chef's mashed potatoes.
And it looks good, too.
Very good. Very tomatoey. Topped with a little bit of parsley. This right here is a hearty meal. Get out of my meal, chef.
I'm getting ready. I'm starving.
Yes, the chef is very hungry. But wanted to show this to you guys. Hope you have a chance to make it.
It's really good.
It's a hearty meal, a comfort meal, warms your tummy on a day like today. And we just can't wait to dig in.
Yeah, can't wait.
So I hope you guys have a chance to make this. And we hope you guys have a wonderful week. And we will see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.